Good morning, traders. This is Shane Scott, the moderator of Newsware's Trade Talk. At Trade Talk, we're providing you with the up-to-the-minute news on the market, along with the facts, themes, and short-term trading ideas for the day ahead. Joining me today is our trading anchor, Bill Olson, who brings over 30 years of institutional trading knowledge to our program. Let's get things started with our markets update. U.S. futures are on the rise this morning with S&P futures up 0.94%, Dow futures up 0.73%, and NASDAQ futures up 1.07%. Global stocks and U.S. futures have climbed as a concern over volatile retail trading has receded, and China took steps to ease a cash crunch. Silver has surpassed $30 an ounce for the first time since 2013 in a Reddit-triggered buying frenzy. The sentiment going into today's market is as off traders have already shook off concerns from last week's sell-off, and in fact, market strategists have even said that the speculative retail buying won't derail the bull market. Over in Europe, the Stock 600 index rallied 1%, led by silver mining companies. Over in Asia, in China, a key cost of overnight borrowing fell from a 5-year high after the central bank extended credit to ease a cash crunch. Interbank repurchase rate has slid about 55 basis points to 2.7795% on Monday, following a net 98 billion yuan, 15 billion US dollars injection from the People's Bank of China. The yuan has weakened as much as 0.58% on Monday, which is the most since November 4th. Bill, what are you seeing as far as market updates?
Shane, I've been watching the S&Ps all night and this morning as well. And last night before the Asian markets opened, the S&P futures were actually down. You see this turnaround. We're showing nice gains this morning. And it really came off of that positive Asian trading session last night. With the Chinese, it was a positive. Japan's doing some good stuff for their coronavirus levels. This was all a positive. And you saw the follow through in Europe this morning. All the European indexes are trading higher, which is a nice positive. They got some good news from AstraZeneca about getting another 30% more vaccine doses coming their way. The from the stimulus talks, and the White House has invited the Republican lawmakers to the White House to discuss the possible stimulus plan. So that's a good news for the markets. And you also have some positive news on the vaccine front, because Johnson & Johnson is very likely to get approval this week. And this is what's causing market to move higher, along with some expected earnings announcement this week.
Mm-hmm. Well, why don't we move into our earnings to watch today? Bill, what type of earnings are we looking at?
Let's talk about Thermo Fisher, up 1% this morning. They delivered a 53-cent beat on higher revenue. I'm also looking at Otis Elevators. They're up, what are they up? They're up 2.86% right now. They delivered a 7-cent beat on higher revenue. But these are the good ones that came out this morning that I saw.
How about insights as far as upcoming earning announcements?
I'm still going through the data, but initially you're looking for Amazon to be moving 6.5% when they release earnings. Amgen, one of the Dow stocks, they're looking for a 7% move when they release their earnings this week. Google's looking for a 6% move when they release earnings. And FireEye, remember, they got hacked this past quarter. They're looking for a 15% move when they release earnings this week.
Moving into our economic reports, Bill, what type of reports are we expecting today?
9:45, you get the manufacturing PMI final index coming out, and then at 10 a.m. the ISM manufacturing index is set to be released. Then you have some Fed speak. You get the Atlanta Fed Bank President Raphael Bostic speaking today at 2 p.m. Eastern, and Boston's Fed Bank President Rosengreen speaking today at 3:10. I also hear that Neil Kashkari from the Minneapolis Fed is going to be speaking today, but I haven't been able to confirm that.
Well, moving into our morning's critical insights, starting things off with Arcutis Therapeutics, ticker ARQT. The company announced positive top-line results for its phase 3 trial for its plaque psoriasis treatment. Arcutis share price is up 0.72% in pre-market. In other news, Biogen, ticker BIIB, says that the FDA has approved its new intramuscular injection route for administering Plegridy. It's a treatment for multiple sclerosis, and Biogen's share price is up 0.63% higher this morning. In other news, Microvast, an EV battery making company, and Tuscan Holdings, ticker THCB, have entered into a definitive merger agreement. And through this, Microvast will be listed on NASDAQ as a public company. The deal has implied equity valuation of $3 billion. The ticker symbol for the joint companies will now trade under is MVST. Tuscan Holdings share price is up 44.38% in pre-market. Another company to go public through SPAC is Nexters, which it will go public through Kismet acquisition, ticker KSMT, and a SPAC deal valued at $1.9 billion. KSMT is up 5.06% in pre-market. In other news, XP, ticker XP, has agreed to terms with Itaú Unibanco for an Italian spinoff investment. So XP share price is up 0.8% in pre-market. Last one for me is Eaton, ticker ETN. They've just acquired Cobham Mission Systems for $2.83 billion. Bill, what are you seeing as far as this morning's news?
Shane, I break my news down into specific alerts on sectors and events to really try and capture, the hot news as it happens to see if the price appreciation is already built in or if there's more room to run. I run a FANG alert that I look at quite often. I'm not expecting a lot today out of it, obviously, because there's earnings coming out on a number of these big FANG stock names today. So they're kind of in a quiet period as they get into the earnings. But I did notice that Amazon is really preparing for, a labor issue, and it could be long and drawn out because these guys in their Alabama warehouse are voting right now, and there's other whether to form a union or not, and there's other sectors inside of Amazon that are also considering unionization. Amazon, for the most part, has been able to hold back their employees from joining unions, but this is going to be a real test for them. My Dow Jones 30 alert, Johnson & Johnson, their COVID-19 vaccine, that's likely to get approval from the FDA this week. That's one of the hot stories I saw coming across. CVX, which is Chevron, apparently news broke that the CEOs of ExxonMobil and Chevron actually discussed the possibility of a merger in 2019, late 2019, as the coronavirus started to appear. This would create the biggest oil company in the world. So that would be interesting to see if anything develops there further. My buyback alert, Northrop Grumman, that's ticker NOC. They entered into a $2 billion accelerated share repurchasing agreement. My FDA alert, that was rather active. I still want to mention ADMS. They got a PDUFA date for today. Horizon Therapeutics, HZNP. They're buying out ticker VIE in a deal that's worth $3.05 billion. Lilly, ticker LLY. They're going to be working with area healthcare systems to help enable and access, importantly, antibody infusion therapies for the COVID-19 patients. And then I'm going to lastly, bring up my dividend alert, Marathon Petroleum, ticker MPC. They announced a 58-cent dividend Friday after the close.
Well, moving into our trade talk picks for today, I'm looking at XP, ticker XP, which we spoke about. It's agreed to terms for this Italian spinoff investment. It's up 0.8% in pre-market, but it's still got about $2.50 to run, could run up to $45. So this is one to keep your eyes on. Perhaps see there's a late morning dip, maybe wait 30 minutes into the market, see if there's a dip to buy in a little bit cheaper to see if it'll go up. Again, an appreciation, but that's some good news for today. It's exciting news, international venture. But a second pick I'm thinking about is looking at BioCryst Pharma, ticker BCRX. They just went on watch this morning following Wall Street Bet's mention. And so they're up 21% in pre-market. And they had a big prophylactic drug that just got accepted and began disbursement in Japan last week. So they do have some momentum. They do have some things that have been happening for them. So they might be one that's interesting to look at. Their 21% is up from $8.52 to $10.33. So it's not a mountainous jump. So, I mean, to expect it to get a little bit higher, it wouldn't be super far-fetched. So I think maybe let's wait and let's see on this one as well. Maybe by 10 a.m., see if there's a drop in that appreciation and if we can see some more momentum going. And I'd say this is one where just see the gains where they're happening and try to get in and get out with a little bit of that today. So those are my two picks. What are yours looking like, Bill?
Cirrus Logic, ticker Charlie Richard under Sam, CRUS. Looking for a run into earnings. Friday we saw some nice positive option flow. And the stock is trading higher in the pre-market, but with a 10% straddle, I going into the earnings, I do expect to see some additional gains this morning.
Well, moving into what's hot off the press, this is the news that's hitting the tape as we speak that will be moving the stocks today. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So, Bill, looking at our newswire alerts and seeing all the headlines that are streaming in, which are the ones we should let traders know about?
American Express, they're unveiling a new limited time offer for U.S. consumer and card members. I see Mogo, ticker MOGO. They're reporting the 300% increase in Bitcoin transaction volumes in January. It's a positive for the ticker MOGO. Verizon, they're investing over $80 million in expanding their permanent 5G deployments in Tampa. So that's a good bet for Verizon.
One on Gray Television, ticker GTN. They've just agreed to acquire Quincy Media for $925 million. Another acquisition, one from Playboy. They're looking to acquire TLA Acquisition Corp for $25 million in cash. That's ticker MCAC. I don't know if you mentioned the one on Sterling Bancorp. It's ticker SBT. They've just settled securities class action lawsuit. It's just a headline, so I'd have to look more into it, but they just settled their lawsuit dispute.
Fidelity National just raised their dividend by 11.4% to 39 cents, and they unveiled a $100 million buyback plan.
One on Leisure Acquisition, ticker LACQ. They've just entered into agreement to acquire Ensys Biosciences for $207 million.
And here's one on Microsoft. The EU is going to be issuing a ruling on Microsoft's $7.5 billion deal with ZeniMax. This is supposed to happen by March 5th.
Anything else interesting for you, Bill?
No, that's all I'm seeing at this time.
Same here. So that's going to do it for what's hot off the press. But traders, keep in mind, you can receive these same breaking stories just like us simply by subscribing at newsware.com. Check us out for a free trial today. It will definitely up your trading game. So moving into our scoreboard, talking about how our picks did from Friday, I had Alussa Energy Acquisition. That's ticker ALUS. It opened at $12.95 and slowly dropped down to $11.68. Mostly just kind of flat and teetered down. And by the close, it was about a 9.8% loss. However, never fear. Hopefully, if you held on to your investment, those losses have been all but erased in pre-market. It's up past $12.60 in morning and still rising. So we're coming out of that one and hopefully have a good day in the market today if you still held yours. So not a great move, but recovering. So how do yours end up doing, Bill?
Listen, it was a wild day on Friday. Now, I went with Merck. The stock opened up at $77.89 and it hit a high of $78.37 for a 0.61% gain. Now, it wasn't the $1 or 1% that I'm normally going for, but in Friday's market, when you're down that much, this was still a successful trade. It opened up, and then started to trade lower and then bounced right back up to that high. So that was a great opportunity and a profitable trade.
Nice. Well, that's going to do it for us here at Trade Talk. But traders, you know what to do. Let's get out there. Let's make some green.